Hi everyone, I'm Nafisa, the Digital Art School producer here at Hospital Rooms. I just wanted to give you a big warm welcome and thank you so much for joining today's session with Sarah Dwyer. I really hope you enjoyed today's workshop, and if you hang on until the end, I'll let you know how you can engage further with the Hospital Rooms Digital Art School community. You should have everything you need for today's workshop in front of you, so let's get started. Over to you, Sarah.
Hi, my name is Sarah Dwyer. I'm a painter and a sculptor, and thank you for joining me here today with Hospital Rooms. We're going to do a workshop on making new compositions and drawings and paintings from found imagery. So this is one of the images that I have done a large scale drawing here, A1 drawing, but I also make smaller drawings where I try to switch off the brain and use the image to warm up my drawing muscles. These are the materials that we are going to use today. We have some watercolors over here that we're going to start with, and some soft pastels. Then we have oil pastels, which are like crayons. You may or may not have access to these, but that's fine. Then we have some gouache that I mix with the watercolors to make a more opaque paint, and then we have markers that work like watercolors, but you may or may not have access to these, but these are watercolors with different wider nibs that are like a brush, and then thinner nibs like this. So I'm going to use those like markers in water, basically. So let's start. So we've got a jar, a fan jar. Any jar will do, anything that you have access to, or containers that you might have at home, like takeaway containers. In my studio, I tend to use recyclable jars from the recycling bin. Give them a quick wash and a wipe, and away you go, okay? So I use those all the time. Today we've got these very simple jars that we're going to use. Okay, so first of all, I'm using some watercolor paper. You don't have to use watercolor paper, but if you are, the watercolors will work better on the paper than with cartridge paper. We're going to tape down the paper to give us a framing mechanism and also to keep the paper still. And this is about giving you a nice clean edge, and it also helps you see the image after you've finished. So we're using found imagery today, and what I'd like you to do is to get any found imagery, newspapers, old newspapers that you might find, magazines, or that you can get in and around the environment where you are, or old National Geographic, which is what I'm going to use. And you can get these in most charity shops around the UK for 5p, 10p, or sometimes they just give them away. And I'm going to just pull out or take out images that I find interesting, whether it's the shape or the colour or the actual subject matter. For example, these are old National Geographics that I got from the charity shop that's 2-minute walks from my studio. So I found some lovely birds. I think these are hummingbirds. And I'm going to just rip them out of the book. So I'm not that bothered about the magazine. And it's okay, we're not getting too concerned. You can either just fold the paper like that and rip it, or you can cut it out using a craft scissors. You may or may not have access to a scissors, so don't worry. You can just use your hands and rip it out with your hands. These images are just going to help us start the drawing. So the key thing is not to get too precious about them, okay? Because they're most likely they're going to end up in the bin pretty quickly, okay? You can also use the shapes, the negative shapes that to draw later. You can use that line, and I'll explain that later, okay? So I'm going to use this dancing, it looks like a dancing hummingbird. Actually, it's easy. It's going to be easier just to rip this. Okay. And we might turn him or her upside down. Now, you notice that I haven't really worried about the shape now of the paper. So he might be an upside down bird. So we're going to use that, and then just quickly throw your paper away. We've got 2 birds now. I've already cut out some paper, some images from the National Geographic, and I think those are sea cucumbers, and this is a fly or maybe a crab. It's something under the water. And we're gonna, in a minute, we're gonna draw this figure image. Now, the other 2 things that I have here is a dancing kitten who is looking in the mirror, and I really like the shape and the reflection in the mirror, so I'm going to use that. The fly and the colours from these under the water vegetables or mushrooms. They look like mushrooms, but they're under the water. So we're going to use these colours, and they all work nicely together. But they don't have to work well together. You can just use things that you might see an image of a figure, and you like the shape of the figure or the way they're seated in a position, in an image, in a magazine, in a fashion magazine, and you can just take that image out. And we're going to just use the images to start us off. Okay, so off we go. I'm going to get one of the soft pastels. You can use any colour you want. Today I'm going to use this lilac colour to start doing the drawing. And what we're going to do is we're going to take a line for a walk. And how do you take a line for a walk? You're going to just look. We're going to start with the cat. Oh no, let's start with the bird. Why not? Let's start with the bird. So I'm going to have this bird. I think I'll take the bird like that. Or no, babe. Put the bird like this, okay? So my eye is going to start at the top of his beak, and I'm going to follow my eye all the way around the shape of the bird, including these tails, these feathery tails, and I am not going to look at the paper. The only rule here is that we don't look at the paper. And you carry on drawing, and my eye is going to go all the way around the shape of the bird without looking down. You can go really fast or you can go really slowly. It's all up to you and your pace. So it's very important that you go at your own pace. So off we go. So my eye is staying, I'm just up by the eye of the bird now, and I'm doing his wings. I haven't looked down. I'm going to do some of that tail. And that big feather, wide feather, angled feather. I still haven't looked down at the paper. I can see out of the corner of my eye the paper and the drawing, but I'm not going to look down until I get to the top of the beak. There we go. Wow, that's fun. Now that's the beginning of our drawing. Now I might just put that away and not think about it. And I might take maybe these yellow sea cucumbers. And we're going to bring those yellow sea cucumbers. You can kind of see the hummingbird. I think it's a hummingbird. But we don't no longer have to worry about the hummingbird. We're going to now just take these colours and bring them in. And let them inspire us to bring these colours into the form. I'm going to start today with these watercolour markers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to follow my eye along the shape of these cucumbers, and you can make them tiny or you can make them really large. It just the key thing here is it's all about the process. We don't want to make this look like the images that we see. So I'm going to just switch off my brain and make these big, massive sea cucumbers dance around the bird. And it's giving us these It's bringing lovely movement into the drawing. And now we're going to use some watercolors. So the wonderful things about these markers is that they work like watercolors immediately. You don't have to put water on all of them. You can just put it on a small bit and just let it bleed. Now, I quite like this, but I want to see what it'll look like upside down. And the exciting thing about making abstract imagery from found imagery is that you can turn it around as much as you want, and nobody is going to care or judge, and most importantly, yourself. So, let's see what I got, and spend some time just looking. Very important thing when I'm making paintings is just looking and not overthinking what I've got, and just switching the brain off and seeing what I've got. I quite like this kind of pillar here on the right and this structure coming here, the way this is working, but I'm going to turn it around one more time. Ooh, I like that. Now I can kind of see the suggestion of a flying bird, but then this almost looks like a leaf now rather than the tail of the bird. So I think I'm going to go with this, and I like this structure. So now we're going to turn it upside down and we're going to start again. And we're going to bring in some more colors. So I'm going to get these, I'm going to look at the background of this bird, this minty green, and I'm going to just use that color to help me and guide me into this. So I am going to put some gouache, which is a more opaque paint, and you can squeeze out a little bit in there, and we're going to add some watercolor, and you can get as messy as you want to here. Don't be precious with these. Just trying to get as much of the paint out as possible. You can clean these palettes with a wet cloth or a baby wipe or a tissue with some water added, and it makes them perfectly clean and tidy again at the end, okay? So don't be precious. Okay, so that's a nice minty cream with a little bit of yellow in it. Now, so I'm going to be super quick, but you can take your time. Each person has different speeds, but I'm going to take it quickly here today because I tend to switch off my brain when I go fast, and I enjoy the process a bit more. And I like the idea, I like switching it off the brain and not thinking too much when I'm painting and drawing. And don't worry about hitting the lines, about going over the lines. Some of the most exciting things happen when you have happy accidents, like that. Yeah. Okay, we're going to turn this over again and have a look. Let's see what happens. Oh, everything's sticking to me, but that's okay. Right, at this stage, I'm going to take the tape off. Ooh, this is an exciting bit and it feels lovely. You get to take the tape off and see what you've got. Quite nice that I haven't filled in this bottom area, and this negative space here feels like something's jumping off this bottom area. So we might actually fill this off, but we'll see. We'll have a look and see what we think. we're back to the shape of the bird, or the direction of the bird. You can see the bird a bit more there. I think we'll go with this. I quite like it. Okay, so now I'm going to get those soft pastels out again, maybe. And I'm going to choose a pink pastel. This one. Ooh, that's a powerful colour. And I'm going to draw into this and start using some of the shapes that are working well. And I'm going to start drawing into these. I'm going to draw up here. Fill in some of these negative spaces and then see what happens. Oh, yeah. And again, I'm trying to switch off and not overthink this. There's no wrong drawing. You just have to enjoy it. We're going to tape this down again before we get more watercolors out and the markers. I'm going to just tape it down simply here. You don't have to tape all the frame down again because you have this framing mechanism there. You can just, to keep it still. And I'm going to start drawing in. So at this stage, as I said, you can use any marker. But I'm going to start quickly drawing in these areas and see what I get. And I might put some water onto this and see what happens. Ooh, I like these markers. Okay. And then I'm going to get some of this dark green up here. Ooh, these are lovely. Now, for some fun, we're going to just squeeze some paint on here. Some gouache. Ooh, ooh. I'm going to squeeze some gouache. And it gives you this, it pops out the colours in the paint. Now traditionally this is not a way that you maybe have seen paint used, but you can do this and there's no rules. You can do whatever you want. There are no rules. Okay, now one of my favourite parts of making a painting is using the oil pastels at the end. I'm going to take the tape off, I'm going to look at it again and I'm going to see what way I'd like to look at this drawing. Now I've changed my mind again. I quite like it this way. So this way we've got maybe a bird in a landscape in the sky moving, and then we move it around and it looks a bit like maybe a butterfly or I don't know, a moth or something. Then we look here and it's more abstract. We're losing the shape of the bird. So, it's really important to look and just take your time and maybe take a break and go away and then come back, go and have a cup of tea and then think, okay, which way do I want this to go? I quite like it. Oh, I can't make my mind up, which is often the way. So I have to go away, leave my studio and then come back the next day and have a look. But I have to make a decision. So I think I'm going to go with this way. Yeah, and now I'm going to go for the oil pastels. This time I'm going to get a bright orange pastel, a really, really strong colour. And I want to, let's say we have this moth-like figure dancing in the landscape. I want to give it some more movement. So I'm going to start here with a tiny bit of the orange. And I'm going to just bring that swoop in and down and around and not overthink it again. Key thing is just enjoy. And I'm going to go into the border of where we taped up the painting, the drawing. And there are no rules in this. There we go. Now, if you want to, you can sign your drawing. You don't have to, but if you'd like to, so I'm going to choose pink. If you want to, you can, I'm going to use dark green. No? Yes, I am. Boom. And then you can sign your painting and off you go. And there we have our quick drawing. We've tried to switch off our brains and not overthink it too much.
We hope you enjoyed today's workshop and thank you so much for joining us. We'd love to see the artwork that you created today, so make sure to upload to our digital art school gallery that's available on our website. We also invite you to please complete the survey that's available because your voice matters to us and it's crucial in helping us to shape the future of the digital art school, which in turn will help others find joy and healing through arts. You can find the links to both the Digital Art School Gallery and the survey in the description below. Thanks again, and we really hope to see you for the next one.